Hello guys and welcome to another video. Welcome to my channel. My name's Mark. I'm an entrepreneur and property investor. And in today's video, it's a very, very special video. We haven't actually planned it out at all. We're just going to spitball this one and see what happens. But Nick, it's another Nick episode. You didn't know that was happening. Come up here. It's another Nick episode. Give him a round of applause, everybody. I don't know why I've created a game show out of this episode, but today we're going to be creating a plan for you, Nick. You didn't know we were going to do that, did you? We were just umming and ahhing about what video we would shoot, and today I think we'll create a plan for you. So what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about how you've created an income and expenses gap, because you have, haven't you? Really quite a significant gap between your income and expenses, which is now going to allow Nick to invest. And what I think is really going to be quite interesting is we make a plan together. Our viewers hopefully will be able to create a plan that works for them, and they might be able to take some of the tips that you've got and start investing and create something that works. So that's kind of my idea of this video, and let's see what happens. And guys, if you like this sort of video, please give it a big like. It massively helps me out with the algorithm. And if you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing. But right, Nick, so first of all, the first thing that we did was create a plan, wasn't it, of how we were going to create this spread. And why don't you tell the viewers what you've been doing and what's happened that's managed to reduce your expenses massively, because they have reduced, and your income's increased massively, right?
Yeah, so as well as working with Mark, I've now just got my taxi license, so I've been doing that in the evenings, straight after I finish work with you, hopping in the car and driving in.
So he's got himself a side hustle, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, you've also, last month, you took some days off with me to go and film externally because you were able to get more money on a different shoot. And we have an agreement whereby if Nick can make more elsewhere, he's full-time with me, but if he's got a shoot coming up that's more money, go and do that. So you've got these side hustles going on. One that's in the evenings, one that's in the daytime. And what does that mean for your income? There's a massive difference now, right?
Yeah, we've almost doubled it, haven't we now?
Doubled the income. Okay, so you've doubled the income, but you have taken on effectively a second job. So it's a lot of hours, right? But you have doubled your income, and that means that you've now got this big gap between income and expenses, haven't you? In the same time, you also reduce your expenses because you got rid of your car. That's gone. So that saved you about £500 a month. What else have you got rid of? You moved house.
Yeah, we've moved house. We're saving some money on rent.
Saving some money on rent at the moment.
Now saving on petrol as well.
Saving on petrol, fuel, but also you stopped going out as much. You stopped all those sort of things. So this spread, what do you think every month, if you were to invest everything you have in your spread, how much could you invest every month?
2,000.
2,000 easily or with difficulty?
No, with easily now.
Easily now, and that's a significant amount of money. That's £24,000 a year. It's a huge amount to be able to invest at 21. So what we need to do is create a plan that would really work for you. Now, the first thing I think that you should do, or if I was in your position, let's talk like that. Let's talk if I was in your position. And I would do my journey again, to be honest. The first thing I did was buy my personal house. And the reason I did it as a personal house was that I was able to leverage more money. And now you've been videoing for me for a while, so you know what leveraging is. But essentially, you could buy something, and I know your income and everything else. I know you could buy something of about 300,000 and only need to put down around 15k, a 5% mortgage. So that gives you access to a huge amount of money, a huge amount of leverage with a very, very small deposit. So for me, I think your very first move, or if I was in your position, my very first move would be to leverage this. Because ultimately, if you think about this 300k, and we know the property market, as we know, we can see up here, we know that the property market moves on average by 6% positively every year. I know that it goes up and down, and some years are better than others, but on average, it's 6%. But 6% of 300k, well, that's quite reasonable. So that's 18k positive every year. So in my mind, if you set up a LISA, and I know that you already have set up a LISA, you can save this 15k probably within 6 months using yours and your girlfriend's LISA allowance. That means you only need to put 4k in, the government will put 1. You only need to put 4k in hers, the government puts in 1. So within 4 months, you could have that 10 grand within 4 months, and another 2 months, you're easily going to get to this 15k. So I would think within 6 months, you would be able to purchase somewhere around that price. And that would be a massive amount of leverage. So if I was in your shoes, that would probably be my first move. If you didn't fancy that, the other thing that you could do is start investing in index funds and start building the wealth up.
Well, I was thinking I do really like property, and I obviously want a property, don't I?
Okay, so you would prefer this than index funds to start with. I still think we should use the LISA allowance, and if I was in your shoes, I would still use the LISA allowance. I can't think of a better way of getting £1,000 or 25% return overnight, especially if you're going to buy your first house anyway. It's pretty much risk-free. So for me, that would be my very, very first move. But after that, then you have to create a spread again. So you're going to have a mortgage that you're going to be paying on this, but it's probably only going to be equivalent to the rent that you're paying. The rent at the moment, what's your new rent going to be? Something like 1,200, 1,300, 1,300, something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be about the same, and we can look it up and find out. It's going to be somewhere in that ballpark. Let's find out. It's actually a little bit less. I just had a look. It would be 1,200 or just under. Just less than £1,200 a month. Yeah. So it'd be a bit cheaper than your rent that you've currently agreed, and it means that you then own this property and you can start paying towards that. And that's on a repayment basis. With the 95% mortgages, you can only do them on repayment. If you wanted to do a 10% mortgage or a 90% mortgage, you'd have to put in 30 grand. I don't think it's probably worth it in your instance. Yeah. I think you've got enough of an income, you're able to prove that income, you could borrow a bit more, you could do a 95% mortgage. You're exactly the sort of person they're looking for to lend that money to and to give that guarantee to. The LISA fits perfectly for you because you're young. It's exactly, again, what that was designed for, was to give young people extra money that they don't have to earn, they don't have to pay tax on. It's just a gift to you to buy a house. So I think making use of those government giveaways is really, really useful. How does that sound?
Awesome.
What's next then? What's the next thing? What's the goal at the end of that then? So we bought the first house. What do you want to do next?
Get another one.
Get another one. I like it. He wants to get another one. So I think after that, assuming you want to buy another one, we need to save up somewhere in the region of £35,000. So that's going to take a little bit of time. Yeah. Obviously you've got this that's going to be appreciating over time, but you cannot rely on capital appreciation. You should create a plan that will mean that you will still save 35k over the following year or two. So for me, this £2,000 spread means within a year, you're going to have £24,000. That's a huge amount. You're almost there already to the 35. Yeah. So you'll be getting property too, I would think, in a year and a half, 18 months, something like that, and you'll be able to move that money through a bit quicker. Do you know what I mean? It sounds a bit unreal, doesn't it? It sounds a bit like, oh my God, it's going to get there quite quickly. Yeah. But if you can then aim to buy a property every year or so, you can get that snowball going. I mean, I did a video about my first 4 houses and how that really built the foundation for my entire portfolio. But I'm a big believer in that. You need 4 houses, about £750,000 to £1 million worth. And then once that's appreciating by 6% a year, that's 60k a year of appreciation. You can buy another house every year, and it just really snowballs from there. So how does that sound as a plan? Are we going to go down the property route rather than the index fund route with you then? Yeah. But we're going to use index funds in the meantime? Yeah. Yeah? You're happy with that?
Yeah.
So you're going to commit to investing how much? Are you going to commit to 2,000 or not? Are you going to be able to, you're going to do it live on here? I did it and I talked about my weight, and we'll do a video about my weight because you know, am I under 80? Yeah. Yeah, I've hit my weight target, guys, but I haven't yet done the video because I want to lose a little bit more, then I want to do a tattoo tour and talk about some of the inspirational quotes that I've got on me that I want to sort of talk about and why I put them on my body. But what are you going to commit to? You're going to commit to 2,000 and buying your first house by April, May next year. Yeah. That would be impressive, wouldn't it? Yeah? We're going to go for it. Yeah. So guys, you heard it here. Nick is going to be searching for a house, his first property, mid next year, I think is reasonable, right? So within 6 to 12 months, you'll buy your first house. Yeah. And I think that's a really exciting goal, guys, and I think it's really, really good. Are you still thinking about a G-Wagon? Yeah. Cars. You don't need a G-Wagon yet though, right? I think the next stage after this, I think, would become, actually financially independent and just financially free. Yeah. So I think if we're looking at things like this, if we were to say for every 35k you put in, you're going to receive about 3,500 per year in cash flow. I think you're probably going to, because that's about 10%, right? And we know on this channel, single lets 8 to 12%, HMOs 15 to 25%. So we're just doing it on 10% here, nice and easy numbers for us. us, if you wanted to have 35,000, for example, which is a bit above an average salary, you're going to need to invest somewhere in the region of 350k, which for you, to be honest, with £2,000 a month isn't going to take as long as you think, because the amount of capital appreciation you're going to start accumulating as you go through your journey. It'll be quicker than you think it will. I think within 5 to 6 years, when you start refinancing property 1, property 2, property 3, the snowball starts, guys. I've experienced it myself. I've seen it 100 times. It's unstoppable at that point. And you'll experience it yourself once you get your first and second property. So guys, any questions for Nick, put them down below. Nick, you're going to answer them. I'm going to let Nick do every comment in this video. So absolutely every comment you've got to reply to, okay? It'll be under my name on my YouTube channel, but Nick will be replying. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed us putting together a little plan for Nick. As I said, I think this is what I would do if I was starting again. I would definitely use the LISA allowance. I'd definitely get my first property. I'd use that leverage. At the end of the day, the mortgage is about the same as much as the rent. So there's no reason not to have that mortgage in that instance. Also, to that end, there's an interesting point that the HMRC put out some guidance on the LISA bonuses and the 95% mortgage, that if your personal circumstances change and you need to rent out the property for whatever reason, they're not going to look to reclaim it. So you don't have to worry about the fact that if you buy it and then later on can't afford it and you need to rent it out, you can still rent it out. They're not going to look to try and reclaim that money. So if you do it intentionally with the intention of doing that, that's different. They will seek in that instance. But I looked at the guidance, guys. If you type in, you can find the guidance online, LISA reclaims or something from HMRC. They're not going to seek to do it otherwise. And one of my wonderful viewers put a comment about that and forced me to do the research, so that's quite interesting. But guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Any questions, down in the comments. We'll see you soon.